What's going on, world? I'm at Big Game James _36, and I'm here with Greg McGarity. And this is the Tax Layer Gator Bowl Drive to Selection show presented by Toyota, where each and every week we go over the previous week of college football and the current week of college football as it relates to the Tax Layer Gator Bowl played here January 2nd in Jacksonville, Florida at prime time. You want to make sure you get your tickets because, hey, we're going to have something good here. I can promise you that. There's going to be either some people who have never been to Florida, and this is going to be a great vacation for them, or teams that travel well, or the SEC, some SEC team that we thought would probably be in the college football playoff, just the way that things are going. Last week was crazy. We saw Florida, Tennessee. We saw Alabama, South Carolina. Some really good games. But the real one was, and we'll just talk about this one for a little bit, Ole Miss, LSU. That game really had implications for us because both of those teams, those were two playoff caliber teams that came down, and now they're in both of them are, well, one of them's in a situation where they can't have another drop, but they play. Ole Miss has a tough schedule, right?
No question. No doubt about that. And so you're going to see some games down the road. I mean, LSU coming off a high, they are at Arkansas, and then they travel to Texas A&M. So that was if they had lost that game, knowing that they may split these two road games, they would definitely be out of the college football playoff. But they came a big game at night in Tiger Stadium. It had all the elements of a great game, and it certainly panned out.
Yeah, I'm very excited. All the things that you want in college football. I mean, even it shows that why you have to continue to put your best foot forward in the SEC. Again, like we saw with Alabama, South Carolina. South Carolina had every opportunity to win that game. But going forward to week 8, man, it just feels like we were just complaining about not having college football, and now we're in the week. It's almost over. What are some of the SEC matchups that we should be looking for this week? This is actually, they got some really good competition. You actually just talked about one. LSU, Arkansas. That's interesting because Arkansas, when you feel like they're going to lay down, they keep fighting. This game could be something that derails LSU's SEC championship hopes.
Well, I think it provides separation this week. You talk about the two back-to-back blockbuster games, Alabama and Tennessee at 3:30, and then Georgia and Texas at 7:30. You know, all those teams are up among the top 10 right now. So there's going to be some separation there, but it's a crucial game this weekend. You've got South Carolina at Oklahoma. Both teams are fighting for bowl eligibility. Kentucky and Florida, both teams have 3 wins. A big win for either team is going to help them get eligibility. But, you know, that Texas A&M's got to play at Mississippi State. We saw what Mississippi State's quarterback
they can put up points.
So a lot of interesting things. And Auburn travels to Missouri on that side. But ACC side, you're looking at Notre Dame goes to Georgia Tech. I don't know if Haynes King is going to play for Georgia Tech, but you know, the way Georgia Tech won that game against North Carolina last weekend was crazy. But you know, you look at the darlings of the ACC right now. If you exclude Clemson and Miami, you've got SMU travels to Stanford. They'll be favored in that game. Pitt's off this weekend. Pitt's undefeated, already bowl eligible. So if you exclude Clemson and Miami, the league is upside down with the teams FSU and North Carolina State, North Carolina at the bottom, and you know, Syracuse and Pitt and Boston College and SMU at the top below those others. It really creates some interesting dynamics.
Texas, Georgia, big game, big weekend in Austin in general. They got F1 race. It's a lot going on. How do you prepare your student athletes, or what are you talking to your coach about when you're in those situations about, like, hey man, let's keep the main thing the main thing?
Well, they've never played in Austin, at least this generation. They played in the Sugar Bowl and they played in the Cotton Bowl years and years ago. But I think anytime you bring a team into a new environment, it's going to be new for everyone. New hotels, new stadium, new visiting team locker rooms, things of that nature. And you're playing arguably the best team in the country. So you got to be at your best. I know Coach Smart's talked about they haven't had their best game of the year. Well, you need to have a really good game, and Texas probably needs to be a little off for Georgia to have some success this weekend. But certainly, as we've seen, it's tough to win whether you're home or away, and just depends on what team makes the fewest errors and can execute at the most critical time.
And one thing Sark can do is dial up some offense, and but one thing Kirby can do is stop an offense. So you're going to see something with there, and then also you see two NFL caliber quarterbacks. Quinn Ewers with Carson Beck. Carson Beck has shown that when he's dialed in, there's very few that are better. We saw what he did against Alabama in that second half. One of the issues that Georgia's going to have that they haven't been able to get in the portal or in recruiting is that wide receiver room. So it's going to be, again, very interesting when it comes down to that. SMU at Stanford, we see Stanford's can be a pretty tough team on the ACC side. Is Duke real? We get the chance to see if Duke can get the opportunity to do something that I have never seen in my lifetime. Beat Florida State on Friday, and they'll become bowl eligible with the victory over that, as well as basically all but destroy FSU's hopes of bowl eligibility. So a lot of good matchups between the two conferences, and now we're starting to see things starting to shape toward how the bowl season goes. So what are some of the qualifiers from let's go with the SEC side first to be able to participate in the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl?
Well, once you fill the college football playoff, and whether it be 3, 4, 5 SEC teams, then the rest are basically in our pool. Orlando gets the first pick. And then we join 5 other bowls in deciding who the next best pick is. So obviously for us, fewer teams up in the college football playoff means a better quality team for us. So let's see where things are. The first college football playoff poll comes out November the 4th. So that's when we will really be talking about scenarios and what ifs and things that could come to pass. ACC is much more clear. The teams that don't feed into the college football playoff, they're right in the picking line with San Diego, Orlando, and Jacksonville. So you're looking at teams that are really, I mean, like you said, Pitt's already bowl eligible. They're undefeated. You got some teams that traditionally are not going to be in this premium pool that we select from. So that creates some interesting dynamics there. But I'm really liking the way SMU is performing in their first year in the ACC, and I think they've had some impressive victories so far.
Definitely hope we can get my favorite President W back here. I'm not going to pass up meeting him this time if we get SMU here in the Gator Bowl. But so interesting things coming with there. A lot of different stuff with the premium pools. There are no more automatic qualifiers because of college football playoff expansion. Who are some teams that, again, that even though whether they're performing well or not, we just know we can't have them in, or is that still a rule?
No, I think the only 3 teams that are really excluded from playing in our bowl are Stanford in California, because there's an agreement with the Pac-12 to fill those bowls with West Coast schools, which kind of makes sense. Okay, so they're not eligible for the Gator Bowl this year, nor is Clemson. Even if they weren't in the college football playoff, they could not repeat here due to ACC rules. Now, on the SEC side, there's not a rule that precludes Kentucky from coming back. It's not desirable, but a lot depends on how many teams are going to be bowl eligible in the SEC. And so getting that magic 6th win is critical for us, as we want more teams in that pool than not.
And we also can't have rematches from this year or previews of next year. So again, even though it was a really exciting weekend last weekend, and we're looking forward to this current coming up, just got to continue to watch, continue to stay dialed in, and continue to pay attention to me and Greg McGarity as we give you guys the layout of college football as it relates to the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl played here January 2nd in Jacksonville, Florida. Again, for Greg, I'm at Big Game James _36, and this is the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl Drive to Selection show presented by Toyota. We'll see you guys next week.